What a name. And what a guy. Killing him is almost as bad as letting him live.
The Pain Elemental hails from the primal, abominable depths of the demon world. Tormented by its own existence, it is cursed to forge lost souls within the fiery pit of its gut, an excruciating process that continues for its entire miserable lifespan. Visually similar to the Cacodemon, with also 400 hit points, the Pain Elemental truly lives up to its name by launching lost souls instead of projectiles, spawning 3 additional 1 upon death. Though slow, it got a high pain chance, making the chain gun and plasma rifle effective choices against it. But it's more easier said than done. The stupid amount of lost soul its spawn are getting in the way, protecting it from your fire like a meat shield, pushing you to find a way around or through the cloud of enemies to take care of it before you get overwhelmed. At least, they can only spawn 21 of them thanks to engine restriction. However, this limit has been removed in most source ports. As you may have already noticed, the rocket launcher might not be the best weapons against the monster, the missiles risking to get caught by a lost soul, and even worse, one that is charging you, inflicting splash damage. Your instincts might tell you to keep your distance from these grotesque, gaping maw creatures, but in reality, this is one of their biggest weaknesses. The Pain Elemental cannot attack you directly without launching a lost soul. If you stay close when it tries to release them, the attack will fail due to lack of space, causing the lost souls to disappear without dealing any damage. The double shotgun is a perfect choice for this strategy, as the Pain Elemental's large size makes it an ideal target for the weapon's spread. In Doom 64, the monster received an altered, horrifying design, with now 2 mouths replacing its arms, allowing it to spawn 2 lost souls simultaneously. This time, don't count on zeroing on the monster to stop it from spawning its minions. If the lost soul can't spawn because there is a wall, you or anything that blocks it, instead of vanishing, it now explode, the equivalent of being adjacent to an explosive barrel. They are perfect targets for your BFG, and both this and the classic version can be stun-locked with a chain gun. Just be sure to have plenty of ammo. The Doom RPG introduces 2 additional iterations, the Beholder and Rahovart, which do not spawn lost souls when attacking, but do so upon death. The Pain Elemental makes a massive return in Doom Eternal, boasting an incredible 5,000 hit points compared to the 400 of its predecessor. Its main attack still involves launching lost souls at you, dealing massive damage, and it can also spawn 3 of them to shield itself. However, because of the already overwhelming number of enemies the game throws at you, the lost souls don't stay, making the monster's threat rely on the damage they deal instead of the sheer number they previously produced. Hugo Martin, the Doom Eternal game director, described in an interview with the NoClip Documentaries channel the tough process of creating a demon for the game, and mentioned that the Pain Elemental was designed to look like a grumpy old man.
And he has this one bull charge that he does kind of where he kind of like walks like this. It's really funny. It's kind of like a grumpy landlord.
Which really fits its appearance.
Acho que dormi pó. Acho que dormi pó.
I wasn't strong enough for this challenge. Forgive me, Daisy. I'm coming home. Now.
Apparently, when a demon dies, they pick him up, dust him off, wire him some combat gear, and send him back into battle. No rest for the wicked, eh? You wish your missiles did what his can do.
This creature is one of the most consistent demons designed throughout the franchise. Their first appearance will always leave a mark on me. Without any warning, right at the beginning of the level, you kill the first zombie you see. As soon as the shell leaves the chamber and the shot resonates off the walls around you, it inevitably announces your presence to this never-before-seen horror. It reveals itself with a shriek, and you come face to face with a tall, bloody, skeletal figure equipped with dual shoulder-mounted cannons. Despite the confined environment, the missiles it shoots seem to follow you as you try to dodge them. Fortunately, the area has plenty of cover for you to hide behind, giving you only a glimpse of what will soon become tougher situation, with vast arenas filled with higher number of enemies. Highly aggressive, Revenants fire two types of missiles, unguided and homing, with the later identified by their grey smoke trail. If you get too close, they will stop their ranged attacks and engage in melee combat that surprisingly have a high amount of speed and damage, able to kill you in a few hits. Revenants are among the fastest enemies in the game, matching the speed of the Pinky Demons, with their missile also being able to move fast, making you unable to outrun it. Fighting a single of them is manageable, but the challenge intensifies when they attack in groups, forcing you to constantly track their missiles while trying to avoid getting too close. Revenants have a not-so-good pain chance, so a chain gun can effectively prevent them from attacking, but it's best to use the plasma rifle, rocket launcher, or BFG, especially if there is more than one of them. While their missiles are difficult to outrun, strafing to the side and then moving forward just before impact can make them miss, making walls a good way to take care of them by positioning yourself back to one. The Revenant has a very interesting design story with multiple people involved in its creation. It was initially meant to be encountered in Doom 1, with the miniature created by Adrian Carmack to capture its pose, already done by that time, but it was ultimately not used and kept for a future title. Adrian then gave it its punching animation. The tracking missiles were added thanks to John Carmack, and they acted differently at first, being much slower, which made them more precise in tracking players without colliding with walls. Romero found them too annoying and decided to increase their speed so that they had a higher chance of colliding with surfaces, giving us the demon we now know today. The slow-moving missiles were likely the inspiration for a monster we all know too well in their next title, released sometime later, the f***ing Vor. Thankfully, the Revenant's missiles are less agile and easier to avoid compared to that three-legged eldritch monster, which follow you like a fly even in closed spaces. In the Doom RPG, Revenants are a bit different, lacking of course tracking capabilities, but having two additional variations, the Ghoul and the Fiend, all of which explode upon death, dealing damage to adjacent tiles. The Doom 3 iteration of the Revenant features almost translucent skin, revealing its skeleton. This design choice was originally aimed at creating an anatomically accurate skeleton, which was ultimately kept to add an eerie effect to the monster. UAC scientists in the game are noted to be baffled by how these creatures function without organs. With a strange 272 hit points, the Doom 3 Revenant is much slower, firing two missiles in a chaotic pattern that can be shot in mid-air. The plasma gun is particularly effective, as you can often aim at the demon and unleash your fire, with the missiles having a good chance of being caught in the crossfire. Unlike the swarms in Doom 2, Doom 3's Revenants are usually encountered alone, typically requiring 3 shotgun blasts to dispatch. This changes significantly in Resurrection of Evil, where they are encountered in greater numbers, balanced by the addition of the artifact, enabling you to take care of them before they even finish spawning, and the addition of the super shotgun that can get rid of them in one shot.
The Revenant program. helping UAC members become all that they can be. Expand your potential. Experience something new. And go beyond mere mortal limitations. See Jessica in Human Resources to find out if you qualify.
The Revenant in Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal retains the classic look but has been heavily revamped. Now identified as a former human rather than a demon, it has regained its speed and can hover using a jetpack, firing a barrage of laser-guided missiles. With increased hit points, they can be glory killed from behind, causing them to explode and damage nearby demons. The Eternal version can now have his cannon destroyed, and you can also dash to break his missiles' lock-on. The enemy will make a return in the upcoming Dark Ages title. It retains its ability to hover, and while we only saw one attack, its skulls are now shot in arcs that don't seem to track their target. We can also see it wielding scythes in its hands, perhaps indicating it will be more focused on melee combat than its predecessor, as this is the first time we see it wield melee weapons.
Fly now! They fly now? They fly now!
Same as the former humans, but much meaner and tougher. These walking shotguns provide you with a few extra holes if you're not careful.
These sons of bitches can deal a ton of damage if they catch you at close range. They often appear in swarms, especially in Doom 2 and Final Doom. They're slightly faster than the Zombiemen, have more health, and their shotgun blasts do significantly more damage, with 3 to 15 damages per pellet, or 9 to 45 damage in total. To make matters worse, they appear more frequently in all classic titles. Fortunately, their 30 hit points make them easy to kill with any weapon, though it's best to limit your choice to the shotgun and chain gun. Maybe the pistol, but it will probably only be used at the beginning of a level to acquire a shotgun. The chainsaw can slaughter them quickly, but it's not recommended most of the time. The farther you are from them, the better. Use the rocket launcher only when you can get a good shot at a group. The model used to create the shotgun, wielded by both the Zombie and Doom guy, was the Tootsie Toy shotgun, which is said to belong to the Dakota line, but isn't based on any real firearm. Interestingly, the weapon sprites look closer to a Winchester or Remington shotgun, while the one held by Doom guy, perhaps because of the angle it was made, appears closer in size to a classic witness protection model. Doom 1 shotgun remains my favorite weapon in all video games. The power, the animation, and the sound. Oh, the sound. Getting the shotgun is so satisfying, and shooting it, while other weapons can sound redundant after using them for a long time, the shotgun never seems annoying, making it so satisfying to use even when you should be using other weapons. In Doom 64, he makes a return under the former human sergeant name, this time almost identical in look to a Zombieman, but armed with a shotgun. This can create some unwanted situations, where you don't realize what you're facing and run straight toward them, only to see your health go down quickly and realize that you were shot by a shotgun. In Doom 3, the enemy is reintroduced as one of the 4 Z-Sec zombies. The shotgunner is more aggressive and tends to rush towards your position to make his shots deadlier. If you get close to him, ensure you have a means to take him down as quick as possible. Not only does he deal tons of damage, but his shots also make your view shake, increasing your chance of missing your next shot and getting wrecked by other enemies nearby. In Doom 2016 and Eternal, the possessed security and shield soldiers take on this role. Armed with plasma shotguns and equipped with energy shields, they can't be killed with a single shotgun blast, making me realize something I was missing from those games. the chance to shoot into a large group with a shotgun and eliminate multiple enemies at once. But this seems to be changing in the upcoming Dark Ages title. While it looks like this was most likely staged for the trailer, we were shown large groups of soldiers, with the Slayer mowing them down like we were used to in the classic Doom. Really excited for that.
They wait on handguns, but you can't do that.
Wrong.
You guess the arachnotrons had to come from somewhere. Hi, Mum. She doesn't have a plasma gun, so thank heaven for small favors. Instead, she has a super chain gun. Crap!
Originally known as the Spider Demon, later called the Spider Mastermind in Doom 2, and more recently referred to as Arania Imperatrix, Spider Empress. This demon is one of Doom's most iconic entity. She serves as the final challenge in both episodes 3 and 4 of Doom 1, and returns in Doom 2 as a regular enemy, seeking vengeance against the player. The classic Spider Demon is depicted as a massive brain with menacing teeth and yellow blinking eyes when attacking. Equipped with none other than a chain shotgun, once she starts firing, her hit scan attacks doesn't stop until her target is destroyed, out of view, or if she is stunned. Like the Cyber Demon, Spider Demons are immune to all blast damage, requiring direct hits to be damaged. This means more rockets are needed to defeat them than expected. The Mastermind, despite being the final boss of the original release, was somewhat of a disappointment for players. Unlike the formidable Cyber Demon, she was easier to defeat, as she was designed and tested with players starting with just a pistol, making the battle much tougher if you weren't equipped with the most powerful weapons. However, armed with a few BFG shots, or even the plasma rifle or rocket launcher, you could dispatch her relatively quickly without much a sweat. Keeping your distance and using cover is crucial, with the central pillar acting as a reliable shield. Peek, shoot, and get back in cover, rinse, and repeat. While initially thought to be a single entity, the Spider Mastermind is fought again in Episode 4, and later in Doom 2 and Final Doom, suggesting multiple Spider Demons exist. Her design, resembling Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, was inspired by the leader brain from the 1986 film Invaders from Mars, with features taken from the Gremlins. Although Doom 3 had concept art for the Mastermind, it was ultimately cut from the game. The demon also appears as a boss in Doom 2 RPG, spawning 3 arachnotrons upon defeat.
They promised me so much.
The Spider Mastermind returns more dangerous than ever in Doom 2016. With an upgraded arsenal of attacks. She can jump, perform melee strikes, fire a plasma-like weapon, unleash lasers that sweep across the battlefield, release cluster bombs, and use a psychic ability to electrify the floor. She is also mentioned in the Cyber Demon lore, which describes an incident where the Cyber Demon, while being enhanced by the UAC, was believed to be in a brain-dead-like state, but then awoke by administering itself a surge of Argent energy. They were able to recontain it after the sacrifice of a UAC personnel who lured it into its containment chamber. This report also suggested that this act was not instinctual by the Cyber Demon, but rather governed by a greater intelligence controlling the will of any demon-born creature. A mastermind of sorts.
A llama.
I have no idea. You're the criminal mastermind, not me.
What?
Make the tools to make the platform better and better.
Yeah.
Don't interrupt me.
Just a few days ago, you were probably swapping war stories with one of these guys. Now it's time to swap some lead upside their head.
Saving one of the first enemies you'll encounter for last, the Zombieman. This enemy is part of the trio of former humans possessed and transformed into zombies. With an unusual greenish tinge to their hair, possibly from exposure to radioactive waste, they attack with single shots and have a high chance of missing at medium to long ranges. Their only real threat is in large groups, where they serve as cannon fodder. Don't waste your heavy weapon ammo on them. The pistol is quite effective if encountered without other more dangerous types of demons. I remember when I was younger, it always puzzled me how the Zombieman's weapon sounded like a pistol, yet looked like a grey M16. It wasn't until I started looking more into the game's development story that I understood why. In the alpha version, you can see that the weapons were quite different. For example, the fist was a bayonet and the chain gun resembled an MP40. The pistol was also different, originally intended to be modeled as a semi-automatic rifle. All the weapons looked very similar to one another, making me think they were changed to differentiate them and provide more variety in weapon design. While the first-person weapon model was changed, the Zombieman sprite was left with a semi-automatic rifle instead of being switched to a pistol, possibly due to time constraints after they decided to make the change. Their appearance was retained in Doom 64, but are very difficult to distinguish from their Sergeant counterparts, forcing you to take your time and not rush them in case they have shotguns.
All units, this is Sergeant Kelly. We're under attack by an unknown enemy force. Fall back to Marine HQ to regroup.
They are also encountered in Doom 3, modeled with a pistol, and significantly more resistant and agile. They can also dodge and roll to the side, and tend to seek cover behind boxes and walls. In the 2016 and Eternal versions, they return as possessed soldiers, now armed with plasma weapons, and far more dangerous than their classic counterparts, shooting more frantically and moving around the battlefield to keep distances from you. The Eternal soldiers were directly modeled from the original sprites, with the main physical difference being their guns melded onto their arms instead of being held. They are more resistant than the classic zombies, but serve a similar role as ammunition dispensers.
Purpose in this army?
To do whatever you tell me, Drill Sergeant?
God damn it!
At first, I was a bit puzzled by the name of the last map in the episode. The Tower of Babel story from the Book of Genesis explains how humanity, speaking a single language, decided to build a city with a tower reaching the heavens to avoid being scattered. Seeing their arrogance, God confused their language, causing them to no longer understand each other. This led to the creation of different languages and the scattering and division of people across the earth, which was exactly what they had sought to avoid. The Tower of Babel, being the final map of Episode 2, seems to represent a demonic twist on the biblical story. Instead of humans reaching for the heavens, demons are trying to breach our world, with the tower acting as a bridge between Earth and Hell. As you progress through the episode, the tower gradually gets built. By the time you reach it, the tower is fully constructed, unlike in the Bible story where it remained unfinished. The tower can be seen again in the Eternal Hell level, now repurposed by the makers to accelerate the processing of mortal victims into Argent energy. There was a part in the new Dark Ages trailer that, while it is most likely not a pinky demon, there are some small hints that might suggest otherwise. I wonder if they could bring back a pinky design similar to the Doom 3 version. Can you imagine having an enemy that shoots energy blades on a four-legged pinky? Once the rider is defeated, you then have to fight the demon, a dynamic similar to the Warg Riders in Lord of the Rings. I doubt it would be the case, but I mean, if Doomguy can now ride a dragon, I don't see why they wouldn't take that direction.